And just to that point, and to the point of like maybe the meta point in this whole episode is releasing information and why it's important.
Normally, I wouldn't dive into this kind of gossip, rumor mill, personal issues that some people have in this case, and I don't want it to seem like I am attacking Aaron Larkin, Ethan, and Scott Wall in this episode, because they might be really great people with the best of intentions. I'm not saying they're not. I don't know. I don't know them personally. I don't know their intentions. I'm not going to pretend to know. That would be illogical. But I'm not dismissing the possibility that they are genuine and they sincerely want to find Maura Murray. The problem is when they propagate all of this faith-based illogical thinking masquerading as logical thinking, which critical thinkers have called out as steering the narrative, that causes issues in the case, and that's going to lead away from the truth. So that's the only reason I'm doing this logical analysis, so people can kind of understand even the reason why the Mindshock podcast exists. I'm just examining objectively and neutrally the logic or lack thereof in this podcast. If you're new to logical fallacies, this is basically Logic 101. Basic critical thinking, deductive reasoning, nothing extreme. Most of this stuff is children's level. That's all that's required for understanding, as long as you check your ego. See, where everything gets crazy is with everybody's cognitive dissonance, normalcy bias, and faith-based worldviews. Some people think that anybody wearing a costume would never be complicit in any kind of crime. If you want to solve the case, then the reason for the narrative steer is basically irrelevant. We're just science is based. Science is skepticism. You're not going to take hearsay on blind faith, like for whatever reason they do with Maura even being in New Hampshire. Because Butch Atwood is the only person who said that it was Maura, and once again, he said it didn't look like her. I think Scott Wall is still maintaining the Saturn hit a tree, completely dismissing all the evidence to the contrary and without having any actual evidence to support that claim himself. So people aren't saying, oh, he's steering the narrative, let's not examine the crashing. No, nobody's doing that. People have spent many, many hours dissecting point by point whether or not the Saturn hit a tree, and pretty much all critical thinkers have come to the conclusion, including accident reconstruction experts at the scene and the League of Private Investigators that investigated the Maura Murray case from the outset. Now, they could be wrong, but they've all concluded that the accident scene was staged. Are they also not going to talk about how 001 was supposedly out of commission and all those things? Like, these are the things that hardcore coincidence theorists completely ignore and don't reference. Yeah, I'm not sure on the time frame on that, but I believe people were also saying that Jeff Williams had property in the area that didn't have a house on it. I don't know if that was just a rumor or whatnot, but the online sleuths out there can nail that down.
I actually have it right here in my notes. It says that I pulled the SUV out of the ditch and Cecil Smith was there. Jeff Williams was never there, and the sedan was never there. So this blows like a big hole in this theory that Jeff Williams was ever in the sedan.
Does it really, though? Are these people that bereft of cognitive function to not even consider the possibility that a human responsible for a crime or covering up a crime would ever intimidate, coerce, or pay off another human to toe a certain propaganda line, to maintain a certain narrative? Something else that these narrative steering coincidence theorists will never talk about is that Monahan said that he overheard the Westman call and that the lights were already on while he was driving there. Like, he could see the light. So that throws the whole timeline out of whack, out the window. This was discussed on the Mindshock podcast. check out the last couple episodes. Here's the thing, like, they'll never discuss that because it goes against their narrative, and coincidence theorists, of course, cling desperately. They have to do whatever mental gymnastics they can do, including sheer denial of the fact. And the facts are that this is what was reportedly said. If you look at the Oxygen transcript, you can see what Monahan said. Whether it's true or not, I'm not pretending to know whether it's true or not. I'm not taking that as on blind faith as gospel truth. But if that's true, so what's Cecil Smith's true arrival time? So if that wasn't him, what law enforcement vehicle with its lights on was there before Cecil and before Monahan? Was that Jeff Williams? Was it another officer? See, that's what we don't know.